am going back to being 18 again with this 2013 Mini Cooper JCW. JCW stands for John Cooper Works, which is the racing division of Mini. JCW badge gives this car more power, stiffer suspension and a more aggressive styling. This is the facelifted R56 model, which comes with the 1.6 litre 4-cylinder N18 engine rather than the more problematic N14 that came before it. My mum unfortunately had the earlier model and did indeed have no end of issues with it. It also comes with a turbocharger instead of the supercharger that was in the earlier model. The engine puts out roughly 210 horsepower, 260 newton meters of torque, and will get you to 60 in a very respectable 5.8 seconds, with a claimed top speed of 147 miles an hour. Right, let's look at the rest of the car, starting with the boot, which, as the name suggests, is pretty mini. You could probably fit 2 weekend away bags here, maybe a medium suitcase. But the most important part is this charger on the left hand side, which comes in very handy for when you've taken your dog for a walk and they have run out of battery. But let's not crap on the boot just yet, because you also have these really conveniently placed levers, which when pulled instantly triples your boot space, meaning that you can put a lot more luggage in there, maybe a large suitcase, as long as you leave the kids on the roof. This particular car is on Continental Sport Contact 3s. We've got 17-inch wheels all round. The fronts, I believe, are Brembo. I'm not sure if they're Brembo, but they are 4-pot calipers, and then we have the 1-piston system at the back. Right, let's go and have a look inside. This particular car has the aftermarket Recaro seats. These were a £3,000 option. They're really, really lovely. You've got this kind of Alcantara leather feel. Really, really like these. In the rear, you've got 2 seats, I believe. Yes, 2 seats. Again, short people, fine. Tall people, not so much. Coming through to the front, we have, in terms of storage, we have got this armrest, which is pretty cool. If you pull it back, it gives you a little bit of storage in here. And then you've also got the glove box, which is a decent size. And you've also got a couple of little cubby holes in the side of the doors. Other than that, you haven't got a lot, to be honest. If you want to put your phone somewhere you can see it, I mean, you can't. You need to buy something to put your phone on. It's as simple as that. Centre console, pretty simple. So down the bottom, you've got these little buttons that are quite fancy that deal with the display in the centre. You've then got your sport button, which should always be turned on. And you've also got traction control, which should always be turned off. Heading up from there, you've got the various buttons for climate control, and you've also got your window up and down and heated seats. Now, it took me forever to find these window buttons. They are in completely illogical place. I would want them in the door or just somewhere else. It doesn't make sense that they are there, but that's where they are when you're looking for them. Radio controls, and then above that you've got the speedo. You've got this massive, great big speedo, which I think is actually more for your passenger. If you are going a little bit fast and they start screaming and telling you to slow down, you can't lie about how much speed you're doing, because you do also have a digital speedo in the middle. So really don't see the point in the middle one other than, as I say, for your passengers. Steering wheel, you've got your standard radio, phone, cruise control controls, and then you've got your, again, standard wiper, indicator stalks to the back, and then your start stop button just up here, which you press the key into and put your foot on the clutch and start the car. Which, on that note, let's start it and go for a drive. Right, I'm going to do this video slightly differently because there is not actually anything I don't like about it. So I'm going to start with the car in normal mode, okay? So the steering is kind of light, you know, steering wheel moves, car moves, but it's not particularly heavy or anything like that. It's just a normal steering, right? It feels like normal car when you're in normal mode. When you put it in sport, that stiffens everything up, gives you a little bit more of a throttle, and makes the steering a lot heavier, and actually makes the steering a lot nicer. It also gives you a little bit of a pop and crackle from the exhaust. Now, the steering in either mode is kind of numb. It's electric steering. We all know that I'm not a massive fan of electric steering. It is what it is, but actually it is so direct, particularly in sport, that it doesn't really matter, because there is still a lot of engagement to driving this car. Now, the one thing I would say is that the traction control is really annoying. It comes in way too early. So what I'm gonna do is put the car in the mode it should always be in, always, if you're on a hoon. Okay, so I'm putting it in sport and I am turning the traction control off, because yeah, because it is so much better with the traction control off. There's no roll to it, it kicks in and then it feels, I don't know, it just kicks in too early. I don't like it at all. But with the traction control off, it is brilliant. There really is something about ragging a 200 horsepower, 1100 kilo manual hot hatch that you just don't get from new cars these days. They're just, you know, they're so heavy. Even the Yaris was 1300 kilos. It's just not the same. Like, weight really does make a difference. Not having all the stupid driving aids really makes a difference. You haven't got lane assist and, you know, limiters and speed awareness coming through every 5 minutes and just had a little bit of wheel spin there, coming through, ruining your drive every 5 seconds. You know, if you go a mile an hour over the speed limit. Oh, just wheel span all the way up that road because it's a little bit wet. Now, I wouldn't have done what I've just done in either anything with more power, that I don't know, certainly, or new cars. New cars, it wouldn't allow you to do it anyway. The car would end up just fixing it for you. But this, it hasn't got enough power that you're going to end up in trouble. It's easily controllable. Car's really, really controllable. You know exactly what's going on with it. It's front wheel drive, so again, you're not in a rear wheel drive, something with, you know, a load of horsepower that's going to end up oversteering on you. If anything, it understeers and then you just back off. But this is so much fun, so much fun. Gives you a lot of confidence very early on. So as soon as I got in the car, pretty much, I had a good feel for what it would do. And the fact that you can pretty much just chuck it into corners and it will kind of power out of it. You have a little bit of, you know, a little bit of tyre squeal or whatever on the limit. But again, it's not got enough power that you're going to end up in trouble. And it's very predictable power as well. The steering's very predictable. You kind of think and it turns. You actually can't feel the weight at all. I mean, it weighs soddle. 1100 kilos. Again, by today's standards, 1100 kilos is absolutely nothing. That's what the Exige weighs. And that's exactly what a hot hatch should be. Lightweight, low power, but incredibly fun, really good steering, and something that you're not going to get yourself in trouble with. You can heel and tow. It's not a bad position. It's not ideal. It's not the best position for heel and towing, but you can. Bit squirmy around that corner then. Can really see why these end up being track day cars, because honestly the steering is just brilliant. So fun factor, I'm gonna go with like a 9. It's great. proper love this. It's bringing me back to my teenage years. I actually kind of wish I'd gone into one of these now. My first car was a Hyundai Getz, and then I went into MX-5s and had a Mark IV Golf Match, which was basically the worst car I have ever driven ever to this day. It was called Bridget because I used to spend my life going, come the F on Bridget, because it was so slow. Wish I'd got one of these now instead. Practicality, I'm going to go with like a 7 or 8. You know, it's got plenty of boot space. Bomb about in it in comfort or normal mode, but to be honest, if I owned this car, I would absolutely never have it in that mode. It would end up going straight into sport as soon as I get in the car. Funnily enough, I used to do that with my mum's one. She had the one just before, which I mentioned earlier in the video, the supercharged one, and every single time I got in the car, the first thing I'd do was put it into sport, and then it would be popping and banging and crackling down the road, and she'd be like, have you put it in sport? I'm like, no. But it is definitely the mode that it should be in, 100%. Pop to the shops in it, do your weekly shop, put it back into sport as soon as you get back in it, hoon home. It's fucking fabulous. And I've just done an Alpha Giulia on 2 roundabouts going through Milton Keynes. In a 200 horsepower bloody Mini. I've got to be honest, I'm not sure how much tyre this car's going to have left when I give it back. So the only thing for it really that you should be doing with this car is turn your music up, go and find some twisty roads, put it in sport, turn the traction control off and rag the nuts off it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss anything in the future. Also, drop us a comment and let us know what you'd like to see us review next. Otherwise, I will see you next week.